from the beginningless beginning, from the timeless time, from the very, very start. All beings already Buddha. But still, Siddhartha Gautama, when he was a prince in castle, he wasn't sure, he didn't know about that. That castle back in the days in India, 2,500 years ago, it is highly possible that the building wasn't really castle we think castles are today, or were hundreds of years ago, few centuries ago. Perhaps it was just clay, made of clay and wood. Perhaps, I don't know, but it's possible. For our standards, it wasn't like a marble palace, but in his time, it was maybe the most beautiful house in the village. And his father, as it is told, was a ruler, of a soldier, general, leading those troops. Without water, no ice. Without ice, no water, as it was just said. This young Siddhartha, or prince, at that point he was a little bit like an ice. He had perhaps strong opinions about things, and although he had practiced many lifetimes, he still didn't feel satisfaction. It's same for all of us. We become hard and edgy, like a knife, like a ice, and we cut something that is one and whole. We try to put in pieces. We try to cut and control. We try to manipulate. And we suffer. Again and again, we cut. We don't cut the roots, but we cut the flower. Everybody here has seen this Buddha statue sitting on the end when we come to this Sanneji. There under the trees, this statue made of it's a concrete. One member of us had kept this Buddha statue in some storage and asked if it's possible to use it here. And he was very happy I sent a picture. He was very happy to see that he called this Putkonen, this Buddha statue, for some reason. He said that it's very happy to see that Putkonen has found a new home. A couple of days ago, this new fresh snow, snow is always fresh, but was falling, and this statue was sitting there under the tree that has bloomed some months, some weeks before, but still those, let's say, dead flowers were still in branches, were connected there. And the Buddha sat. And we found, I think we all living here, we saw that this statue is it looked very relaxed and kind of happy. And definitely it gives inspiration. I feel so. I like to go there and look sometimes how calmly this Buddha is there. Maybe my mind is occupied with many unnecessary thoughts. I think I'm busy, or I'm running here and there. And I'm worrying about this coming Rohatsu Sesshin, what I will say when I'm sitting on the tan, for example. But then I see this white concrete statue, and it immediately relaxes me a little bit. Tension disappears because it's so perfect. Just taking everything within. Whatever happens, if it's a snow or rain, wind or sun, cloudy or blue sky, same relax. Same relaxed posture. I know it's statue, it's not real flesh and bone. It's much easier for him than for us, but that's not the point. So we can get inspired when we see those things. Like here on the altar we have a Buddha statue. This is maybe after enlightenment. Just after enlightenment. Last session I talked about a little bit of this mudra that we have here. Bhumi, sparsha, touching the earth. And the other Buddha statue we have is also touching the earth. Very literally. The legend tells that Buddha became enlightened when he saw a morning star. This morning star is planet Venus. but this is just a sidetrack. But I didn't know, or I didn't remember. But this is of course very widely used. Sometimes metaphor, this morning star, because it's, I don't know how many times, but maybe more than 100 times or so brighter than any other star we see from this planet. So of course people during the centuries and millennia has seen this star there and started to use it somehow. And I came up this, I saw from somewhere this year. In Finland it was first time, I mean in Bible, it was a New Testament, it was 1548 was first time when it was used, this morning star, as a metaphor, or Jesus Christ. He is actually claiming himself that he is a morning star. So, but in Finnish, it was first called kointähti, aamukoi. I don't know how you translate it, of course, I don't know. It's a kind of a beautiful word in Finnish, koi. It's also, as we know, Japanese word, but a different meaning. Aamun koi. And it probably, I checked, it's a very, very old word. Finno-Ugric word. So I don't know how many 1,000 years old word it can be. Maybe it is as old word than when Sakyamuni Buddha was living. Maybe already then here people talked about Aamun koi. So it's aurora, this magical moment, we could think, at least. So morning, it's a morning. Morning has come, but it is still night. That is the time. There's just this one star is seeing on the night sky, but it's still morning and it's still night. And that moment Buddha was awakened. Buddha was Buddha. Buddha realized his self-nature. I don't want to make any comparisons, and I don't want to hurt any people's beliefs. But anyway, I think it is somehow, I'm not specialist and I know these things are much more complicated. But how is it that this in this other religion, this Christ he's a morning star, and I think here we think that Buddha can also agree with that. They both are morning stars. They can shake their hands, but then followers of this Christianity, somehow it, if I have understood it right at all, right, the day that people will find their freedom or some sort of deeper satisfaction is to become one day in future. But this other tradition that we are here now practicing with, it is now. Of course, I don't mean that this is better or worse, but it's just interesting that how different it sounds anyway. When Buddha was awakened, he said something like, I together with the great earth and all beings simultaneously attain the way. It wasn't only for his own benefit or his own sake. Simultaneously, all beings, all sentient beings, everything, the great earth, everything was enlightened together. Now, at that moment, everything became free. Of course, it has been free from the timeless time, from the beginning as beginning, from the very start. Last night I mentioned this one koan that Zen Master Tosotsu, to inquire after the truth, groping your way through the underbrush, is for the purpose of seeing into your self-nature. At this moment, where is your nature? And then he has another barrier, because there are 3 barriers. So, if you see through first one, there is another one, and another one. When you realize your nature, you are free. You are free from life, free from death. But when the light of your eyes is falling, how can you be free from life and death? How come? Our minds are working, our thinking, our imagination, our ideas, our mind is working. Let's say mind is working so that it makes a lot of stories and ideas about things. And a lot of ideas for sure. What is life and what is death? What is death? What will come? What will be after we have gone? What it will be? It's not to be taken lightly, these questions, for sure. It's the biggest question of all, life and death. How can we be free from life? Okay, maybe if we have money enough, maybe life is easier. Successful, good business and nice people around. that will help a little while. But then some pandemic thing comes and it doesn't select people. It little bit selects because some people have more money for healthcare, but still even rich people can get sick and die. Even the rich people can grow old and die. So we can't escape, nobody can't escape that fact. But still we think that what would it be if I would be more free? If this life would be more easy, not so much suffering. And as we know, different religions and philosophies and different sects and so will offer us different answers or similar kind of answers. Which one is the best one? Which one I should choose or pick? Maybe I can try a little bit, go here and there and see if it works for me. But time doesn't wait. Then there is a third barrier. When you are free from life and death, you know where you will go. When the four elements separate, where are you off to? Those four elements we know are earth, water, fire, wind. And our bodies are put together, so to say. If we separate our body, this physical body we can separate into those elements. We find there earth and water and fire and wind. And one day, they one by one will leave this body. How can you go anywhere then? If we start to think about very much of these things, we will get very sad. Just thinking doesn't make us free. But that just this very place where we now are is made for the purpose to inquire after the truth. This sendo is the only purpose of this room we have come together for this session is to go and see yourself. What is this moment? This eternal moment. But in order to do so, we need a lot of courage. We need some support And this example of this historical Buddha is of course for all of us to remind us that it is possible. His practice, after all years of different kind of practices, he just was one with his breath. No complicated theories about the life and death, or this and that. It's so close. We are maybe too intimate almost with the breath, with this. So we always take this extra step and we look from the distance. Perhaps it's more safe to look from the distance. Maybe it feels we have more possibilities to choose with. Maybe we don't have to choose yet. Maybe we can keep things a little bit blurry. Maybe tomorrow. But one breath at a time. We have just this one breath and nobody knows if this will be our last. So those 4 elements, they really gives the birth. They gives birth to this body. And then we also can be able to think. Different thoughts are chasing other thoughts, followed by other thoughts. And this continuation, thoughts after thoughts after thoughts, we start to feel. It's just start to feel that there is this self, this me. Just one thought doesn't make it. Perhaps not even 2. But then there is number 3 and so on. And because it's a continuation and there are not so many breaks, it really starts to feel quite solid. And all these elements made this body and these thoughts. It starts to feel quite much that here I am. It's me. And it doesn't feel bad, always. But when it hurts, what then? When it really hurts, what then? How can I escape from this bag of flesh and bones? There's one book that I will probably, at least maybe one of those cases will read here one day. And it's called Denkoroku. And this Denkoroku was put together Keisan jogging around or close to 1300, somewhere 1200 something, end of the 1200. He was having a summer course. I don't know if they call it course, but ango, some sort of ango, summer ango for the monks. And few months they were sitting together, and he gave talks then and about this transmission from the Sakyamuni Buddha, and then was this Keisan Yokin was the last one. He didn't talk about himself, I think so, but his teacher. And it begins, there is a one kind of poem before the actual book or collection of talks will start. And in this case, actually, this book is in Finnish. And I was going to say a few words, but I forgot to bring it here about this book, because sometimes one book can be more than many other books together. There are some reasons for why something is giving more inspiration or talking to you better than something else. And of course, next day may be different. And there is this, kind of a poem, but it is in Finnish, so I translated it in English. I don't know if it works. Eyes shining the light creates forms and colors. Ears shining the light hears voices of Buddha deeds. Hands shining the light will bring others with you. Feet shining the light will take you there and back. Because it's a transmission of light is the name of Tenkoroku. So that's why this light is there. But in here we have those eyes and ears and hands and feet. We have all elements also there working. So we cannot escape from the body, although it is impermanent. If you try to do that, it won't work. There's nothing bad or wrong, of course. It's a blessing to have this body. What a place to be, what a view to have that body. To be able to be human. It's an amazing experience, amazing place. All this is for us, for everybody. Just now this is here, nowhere else. Zen Master Hui Ning, about these bodies or physical body and so. He has in his platform sutra different refuges he takes, and one of them is those 3 refuges he takes for body, different type of bodies. Buddhism has it sounds like this refugee, and I think it's beautiful. I take refuge in the pure Dharma body. Dharma body Buddha. I take refuge in the pure Dharma body Buddha in my own material body. I take refuge in the myriad-fold transformation body Buddha. It's an interesting translation. I take refuge in the myriad-fold transformation body Buddha in my own material body. I take refuge in the pure and perfect realization body Buddha in my own material body. This short or long time we have this material body put together with 4 elements. We can really, like in this case, Wei Neng, he's offering his body for the practice. There are those 3 bodies, it's said. Dharmakaya, which is this Dharma body Buddha, which is ultimate reality. Ultimate reality. And then there is myriad-fold transformation body Buddha, which is Sambhogakaya. So sometimes it's called reward body or enjoyment body. And then there is Nirmanakaya, physical appearance, transformation. This body, very body, bone and flesh. So all those 3 bodies, of course, just one body. In this body is ultimate reality also. We don't have to change this body or get another one or waiting for something else. And for the very end, not very end, but end of this talk, I could read another poem. It is from 1800th century Kyoto, Baisao, I think it's this Buddhist monk, Zen monk. I am old, I am bone poor. You are my begging bowl. My living and my dying depends on you alone. Very little left. This one breath is like a begging bowl, or this practice is like this begging bowl. Our life and death is depending on this practice. So may all beings attain the way.